going on, Jerome's? So, of course, 53-man roosters are set. Well, at least the initial 53-man roosters. But you know that Kwesi just can't help himself. And there will be a move or two, whether it be on the 53 and or practice squad coming up, where the Vikings will certainly get after things and look to improve in any spot on the roster. And I commend Kwesi for doing that. And we decided to make a list. So there's a bunch of players that got cut/waived that I feel like could bring something for the Vikings, or at least kick the tires, light the fires. Now, I'm not saying that these guys should be immediately on the 53, but if you deem them worthy of a practice squad spot, certainly could be interesting. And overall, like, I went for players that fit the culture and the gestalt of what the Vikings are trying to do here, right? So no Desmond Ridder. Like, I understand that Ridder was a third-round pick and was a starter for a couple years. Nah. But going through a list, so we got some offensive, defensive players as well as a punter. So 4 quarterbacks on here. Now, with QB, you got Darnold, Mullins, and Hall, obviously on the 53. But I would still have a quarterback on the practice squad just for peace of mind. And I don't think that Matt Corral is it, even though, yes, he got a very short audition, but slinging Sam Hartman, UDFA out of Notre Dame, just to up the handsomeness factor on this team. That's what we need, man. Mike White of the Dolphins was let go. Now, Mike White, you remember, was on the Jets in 2022 when the Vikings won that near-run thing, 27-22. And, yeah, he threw 2 picks, including the game loser, but threw for 369. Damn, she fine. I mean, never discount, hey, that guy played well against us scouting. Bailey Zappi, the pride of Western Kentucky. I mean, he's going to be a career backup, but someone who could operate the offense, wouldn't mind him on the practice squad. Michael Pratt would be interesting. So I like Michael Pratt coming out of Tulane. He's got size. He's got some ability. He does have some accuracy, but obviously didn't work out with the Packers. He didn't earn the backup job as they traded for Malik Willis, but 7th rounder out of Tulane. Take a shot at him. Sticking in the South. So Frank Gore Jr. out of Southern Miss. Now, all right, so I should point out, so all the players listed, the ones I have highlighted in green are ones that I would put on the 53 for the Vikings. There's not many. There's 4 total. But Frank Gore Jr., I would sign up Frank Gore to be the Vikings running back 3 today. All right, now, there's going to be a waiver process. Vikings currently sitting at number 11 in terms of waiver priority, and I think that Frank Gore Jr. will be coveted. I think that there will be a thing there. But the Vikings do have 2 tailbacks on the 53. Now, that might be a red herring. I know a lot of people point out, 2 running backs, but maybe the whole plan was to get Kene or Gaskins or McBride or a combination of the 3 onto the practice squad and then just bring them up, elevate them on game days as needed. It's possible. But Frank Gore Jr. ran for 163 yards and a touchdown, 4.9 yards per carry, 83.2 PFF rushing grade, the highest rated rookie in preseason. I would snatch him up. I would just go get him. Go get your guy, man. Also, D'Onta Foreman. I mean, D'Onta Foreman's been around, man, and he's got a career 2,326 yards rushing, 14 touchdowns. Also, you remember, like, he tore our ass up in the preseason game, and the entire time I was complaining, it's like, D'Onta Foreman is a borderline RB2 in the NFL. Why is he playing in this preseason game against 2s and 3s? I don't get it, man. But, again, don't discount, hey, that guy played well against us scouting. Plus, Kwesi and Andrew Berry go way back like chiropractic. So, I mean, I wouldn't burn a 53 spot on D'Onta Foreman, but practice squad, it's potential. Now, here's the thing, too. Like, once players, Foreman's a free agent because he's a vested veteran, but players that pass through waivers, like, they don't have to necessarily sign with the practice squad of the team that let them go. All right, so they're a true blue free agent after waivers, so they can sign with any practice squad that you may please. That's how we got Kyle Sluter back in 2017. Michael Cata, formerly of the Jets, had some run with the Cardinals, 4th round pick in 2021. He's 5'8", so I understand. Terrace Marshall Jr. is interesting. Now, I feel like the Vikings are good to go at receiver. Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, Powell, Jackson, Sherfield. They'll probably bring back Deshaun Jones on the practice squad. But so Terrace Marshall Jr., college teammates with Justin friggin' Jefferson. Perhaps you've heard. Also, like, he did some all right things with Sam Darnold when they were together in Carolina. So, I mean, I would throw a dart. It's possible, man. Donald Parham. So Donald Parham is tall. Donald Parham is 6'8", and Parham and Josh Oliver would be like the Twin Towers. Like they would be Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson. They would be Duncan and Robinson down low for the Vikings. They'd be great, man. But career 67 catches, 764 yards, 11 touchdowns in his first 4 seasons. Especially since the Vikings do have Hawkinson up on blocks for a while. I mean, do you like Parham better than N'Keal Harry? Or do you like Parham better than Tanyan on the practice squad? I mean, maybe. Although I think Tanyan's done. Also in the tight end room, Shane Zylstra. That's right. Brandon Zylstra's bro. Also the pride of New London Spicer. Go Cobblers. So every time we bring up the Zylstras and New London Spicer, I intentionally say Cobblers because also when we talk about Concordia, because people will chime into the comments. It's actually Cobber. Don't care. Do not care at all. Just like Howley, Minnesota, Ben Ellefson's go. But Shane Zylstra of the Lions, 14 catches, 94 yards, and 4 touchdowns over the last couple seasons. Of course, we're suckers for bringing the good son back home and the Cats and the Cradle and Silver Spoon. Offensive line-wise, 5 names. So Jesse Davis of the Saints. If the name sounds familiar, so Jesse Davis was a Viking, but he never played in a regular season game because he was in camp with the Vikings in 2022. Former Miami Dolphins starter, so yes, crossover with Flores. Hey, maybe Flores was mean to Jesse Davis too. I don't know. But then before the start of the season, he was traded to the Steelers, so he actually never suited up for the Vikings. But so Jesse Davis, here's his problem. He's a bad tackle. He's a pretty damn good guard, right? And obviously here with the Vikings, he would be asked to play guard and to solidify the interior offensive line depth until Dalton Risner can return, right? And also, you got Max Sharping, so former second-round pick out of Northern Illinois by the Texans. Now, Sharping's the inverse of Jesse Davis, where he was asked, thank you, at guard. I mean, he was a 3-year starter at right guard for the Texans, let go, bounced around to the Bengals 2 years ago, end up with the Eagles this year. But he was pretty damn good in preseason playing strictly left tackle, so there could be something there. I don't know. Jack Anderson. So I swear to everything that's holy, I've put my on the table for Jack Anderson over and over and over again. I loved him at Texas Tech. I think that he brings nastiness and size and versatility. He could play both guard spots. He could play center. And he was a 2021 7th rounder, 85.2 PFF grade in camp with the Panthers this year. Frankly, they should have held on to him. But I mean, I would give a 53-man spot to Jack Anderson. I really would. I don't know who I would bump, but I would find room. I would find a way to get Jack Anderson here to the great state of Minnesota. Jack Anderson. It's like Arn Anderson. Jack Anderson's my guy, man. I want him for so long. Then also a familiar name, Chris Reed, was with the Texans, former Viking, the pride of Mankato State University Community College. Now, we'll only bring him back because do you remember the game where he was forced in at center? Because Bradbury was already hurt in 2022, and then Schlutman got hurt as well. And then Chris Reed, I think it was the Packers game, he could not snap the ball. How are you the backup center and you literally cannot snap a football? Anyways, also someone who could snap a ball, Charles Turner. So I like Turner in the draft process. I would prefer it if the Vikings picked him up as a UDFA, but the former LSU Tiger, Skull SU, ended up with the Patriots, sort of whatever in preseason. But again, I can't let go of some of these crushes, man. Defense. Speaking of crushes, so Gabe Hall, the pride of Baylor, physical freak, ended up going undrafted, but I would prefer to add him to her practice squad. Naquan Jones, formerly of Michigan State, also undrafted in 2021, bounced around between the Titans and the Cardinals, is only 26. Zion Logue, a former Georgia Bulldog, ended up in state with the Falcons as a 6th rounder this year. They're probably trying to get him down to the practice squad. And here's the thing, too. Generally, when players are let go and they're given an offer from their previous team on to the practice squad, they generally take it because, I mean, leases have been signed on condos and apartments, and property is owned here, and kids are already enrolling in school. So, I mean, players try to stick around for the season. McTelvin Agim, formerly of the Texans. Now, whenever there's a former Texans defender, the question is just like, I got to get me some of that. But Agim, a former 2020 third-round pick out of Arkansas, does have some nose tackle and 3-tech flexibility. Could be interesting. Speaking of nose tackle, so Siaki Ika, former third-round pick by the Browns out of Baylor, also played at LSU. I mean, he's interesting because that's a pretty high draft pick to be let go in year 2. And, of course, the Vikings did practice against him in the joint practices, and also Kwesi having that pipeline with Andrew Berry of exchanging information. Maybe. Although, not going to lie, I am very, very happy with Taki Taimani. Not going to lie. And also, there's probably a reason why they let go of Ika after one season. Linebacker Tanner Muse. So Tanner Muse, of course, is Nick Muse's brother. So just reuniting them would be kind of fun. He formerly of the Jaguars. He was a 2020 third-round pick by the Raiders. He plays special teams like his hair is on fire. He is awesome. He's fantastic, man. I love me some Tanner Muse. Then you get Caleb Farley. So, again, former highly drafted players who haven't worked out because of injury history. Mama, I can change him. Kwesi loves these kind of guys. Caleb Farley of the Titans was the number 22 overall pick in 2021 out of Virginia Tech. Now, in the draft process, he did have some health issues. Did miss significant time in Blacksburg with injuries, but it just hasn't worked out with the Titans. And also, he's had some tragic events in his life as well. But Farley, I mean, he's got length. He's got press man ability. The talent is certainly there, man. So, I don't know. Safety Omar Brown. Now, I think that Brown is going to be back on the Broncos practice squad, so I would love to steal him from stupid-ass Sean Payton. But Omar Brown is a local kid, went to Minneapolis North, played at Northern Iowa and Nebraska. Great open field tackler. I think that he could definitely develop and grow and show in the safety room. And honestly, I could convince myself, I would prefer Omar Brown to Jay Ward. If we just swap those two out right now, because I'm sort of off the Jay Ward train. I'm sorry, man. I can't help it. But Omar Brown's good, especially. So I skimmed the Broncos' final preseason game. Omar Brown played basically the entire game on defense. He looked really good, man. In fact, I would make him green. I'll give up a 53-man spot for Omar Brown. There you go. And then Presley Harvin III, former 3-year starter for the Steelers at punter. But I feel like they're going to bring. I don't think that Ryan Wright is secure. I think that his job is definitely on shaky ground, and that's a spot where the Vikings could look to improve. But anyways, that's it. That's taking a look at players that have been cut/waived, where the Vikings should potentially kick the tires, light the fires. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.